Hello, this is Mr. Wynn with the first part of the Algebra 2 Semester 2 Final Exam Review. In this video, I will go over every type of question on your final and how to solve each of them. So here are all the topics or skills you need to know. You can pause this if you need, but I'll keep going. You have a question to solve this. Solve for x. This is a equation with a fraction exponent. Remember, when we get x by itself, I cannot distribute that 1/3 power. What I can do is I can 1/3 root both sides. A 1/3 root, 1/3 power cancels this out. The left side is just 8x plus 16. This right side, I'm going to type in my calculator. So in your calculator, you can always type math 5. Out here, we have a fraction. That's okay. Alpha y equals 1/3. And inside we have a 4. That gives me 64. From here, just algebra, it's now a linear equation. Get x by itself by moving that 8 and 16. Move the 16 first. And last but not least, get rid of that 8 by dividing by it. X equals 6. And you can plug this into x and see if both sides match 4. I will do that. So I have parentheses 8 times 6 plus 16 all to the 1/3 exponent. The left side is 4, the right side is 4, they're matching. Second problem, find the quotient of this. When you're doing quotient, you gotta do long division or synthetic division. For this one, I'll choose to do long division. Make sure you know this though. If there are any missing zeros, just like synthetic, you must put zeros where they should be. So I have a 4x cubed term. So here, the degree is 3, there should be 4 terms. It's missing the x squared term. So I'll put 0x squared plus 5x minus 6. And the side will be 2x plus 1. Alright, so make sure that's 0x squared there. And all you do is divide the first term by the first term. I'm trying to figure out what is 4x cubed divided by 2x. Well, that is 2x squared. So I'm going to multiply the top by the side. 2x times 2x squared is 4x cubed, and they should be matching. And then 2x squared times 1 is positive 2x squared. Remember, when you're going down, you're subtracting, you're doing the opposite. If they match, they cancel out. So all it looks like 4x cubed and a positive 4x cubed, that bottom one's actually negative. So 4x cubed minus 4x cubed is 0. And I'm at 0x squared, and this should be a minus, this right here should be a negative 2x squared. So 0x squared minus 2x squared is negative 2x squared. I'm going to bring down this next term. Then I'm going to do the same thing as before. I'm going to do the first thing divided by the first thing. So negative 2x squared divided by 2x is negative 2. Sorry, negative 1. Almost messed up there. Negative 1x. I'm going to multiply 2x times negative 1x is negative 2x squared. And positive 1 times negative 1x is just negative 1x. Like before, I go down by doing the opposite. So negative 2, positive 2 cancel out to 0. Positive 5, positive 1 makes 6x. Bring down this last term. And one last time, I'm going to divide this first thing by this first thing. 6x divided by 2x is positive 3x. Or positive 3. Multiply 2x times 3 is 6x. 1 times 3 is 3. These cancel. Negative 6, change that to negative 3 is negative 9. That's my remainder. So negative 9 over the side is 2x plus 1. Here's our answer. Alright, you could do synthetic as well, but you do an extra trick where you divide everything by 2 to make the coefficient of x 1, but long division is easier here. Find all the linear factors of x cubed plus 4x squared minus 11x minus 30. I will do the shortcut way. If it's a linear factor, it's a root. So I'm just going to just graph this with my calculator. So I'm going to go y equals, type in the problem, x cubed plus 4x squared minus 11x minus 30. Now since this is cubic, x cubed, there should be 3 factors. So the regular way we do this is we'd find one root, then we use it for synthetic division, and then we do quadratic form, find the last two. but this is easy enough where you can just find them all from the picture. So we're going to figure out where this, not really, okay. Let's try that again. Pick this up. All right, or where that arrow is, and that arrow is. So I'm going to do is just trace my calculator what I think it is. So I think it looks like positive 1, positive 2, positive 3. I'm going to trace positive 3. Trace 3, enter, y 0. So I know I have a root at positive 3. What else do I have? I'm going to count negative 1, negative 2. It looks like negative 2. I'm going to trace negative 2. That root is also the y 0, so that is also a root. Negative 2. And let's see, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5. Looks like negative 5. Trace negative 5. Y 0, that's also a root. I found my 3 roots. Sometimes, and it should work on this, you can just go to second table and find where y is 0. I found one at positive 3. I see no at negative 2. And I see no at negative 5. Now those are my roots. I need the factors. So my factors, you put next to x and change the sign. X minus 3 is my factor because that gives me the root of the answer of 3. X plus 2 gives me the factor because that gives me the root of negative 2. And then x plus 5. All I do is change the signs and put next to x. So make sure you know roots and factors are related. All right, next one. Here's the graph. F of x equals the square root of x. All right, if g of x is the negative f of x plus 2, what will g of x look like? All right, so this is a function transformation. So if y'all remember, we have, I'll leave it like this. I'll do the quadratic one. A parentheses x minus h, some power, c squared, plus k. Remember, A tells you what I say, taller, wider, flipped or not. Taller means vertically stretched, wider means vertically compressed, and flipped means it's negative, upside down. H is the horizontal shift. It goes left or right, but it's opposite. And then K is the vertical shift. It's up, down, it's normal. So in this case, we have this negative in front. It does tell me A is a negative. So if it's negative, that just means it's flipped, upside down. Or that's actually reflected across the x-axis. Then we have this plus 2. That's my h. Remember, that moves to left and right, but it's opposite. So this is actually left 2 units. Shifted left 2 units. So all I do is do that to my picture. From the starting point, 0, 0, I'm going to go left 2. I'll start here. Instead of going up like 4, I'm flipping it. I'm making it upside down. It looks like this. There's my picture. I just flipped it upside down and moved it left 2. And that's it. Use quadratic regression to find the equation for this. Remember, you have a lot of points. You go to your calculator. You go to stat, edit, you type it all in. So for x, I have 3, 8, 12, 15. For the y, 6.5, 15.25, 27.75, and 50. I'll go back to stat, right to calculate, go down to 5. It says use quadratic regression, so make sure you use what they tell you. So follow the directions, quadratic regression, which is 5. Enter, go all the way down. They give you the equation, y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. Make sure you fill in a, b, and c. We can do 2 decimal places. So y equals, a is 0.31. So here's my answer. Y equals 0.31 x squared. Let's look at b. B is negative 2.15. So minus 2.15x. And c, what's c? C is 10.57. So it's positive 10.57. That's our answer there. I just type it in, use a calculator, 2 decimal places. All right, next one. Identify whether there is or are any horizontal and vertical asymptotes for the following functions. Alrighty. For this problem, I recommend you do it in the way we learned it. I actually ordered it in the way we learned it the entire year. When we did linear, there's no HA or VA. When we did quadratic, there was no HA or VA. Even when we did cubic, like this, there is no HA and VA. Even when we did quadratic, there was no HA and VA. So, I'll make it easy. we didn't talk about HA and VAs until we hit Chapter 8. Chapter 8 was rationals. So here's the line that divides it. All right, all this right here, the above part is chapters 1 through 6. There was none, meaning no HA or VA. All right, once you hit Chapter 8, it's this section right here. It's this. It's the fractions. That's when we had the 5 steps and 3 steps. We had to find the LCD. We had a factor, restrict, cancel, all that stuff. Remember, there was both HA and VA. HA were our restrictions from the bottom of the fraction, and VA was just K on the side. Well, Y cannot be. These last two at the bottom come from Chapter 7. So this is Chapter 8. Chapter 7 had two types. There's logarithmic and exponential. Exponential have HA, so I'll write this. This is exponential, because x is an exponent. Has only an HA, because it couldn't cross the x-axis. And on the bottom one, the log one, remember logs, you can't log 0 or negative. So that gives us VA. Logarithmic has only a VA. All right, you just memorize that and you're good. So only one thing has both, one thing has HA, one thing has VA, and the rest is none. So we're going to cover these 8 types. Solve the system. Remember, to solve systems, you have to get y equals on both sides. So let me rewrite this first problem. I'm going to, how can I do this? Can I remove this? Nope, fine. All right, I have y minus 4x equals 0. I need y by itself, so all I gotta do is add 4x to both sides. So y equals 4x, that's my first equation. My second equation, I have y plus 16 equals 2x squared. All I gotta do is move that 16 by subtracting both sides. Y equals 2x squared minus 16. But once you have y equals, you're going to replace one y with other y. Basically, this y is going to go in for this y right here. So my new equation is 4x equals 2x squared minus 16. Now it's just algebra to solve. No, this is a quadratic. For quadratics, you must use standard form. So that means I need 0 on one side. I'll move everything to the side where the x squared is. So subtract 4x both sides. I have 0 equals 2x squared minus 4x minus 16. From here, you have a couple options. You could do quadratic formula, which goes straight to the answer, or if you're good at factoring, you could factor that. I can technically skip GCF. I'll go straight to the x method. All right, on top would be negative 32. On bottom would be negative 4. What two numbers multiply to 32? Add, subtract to 4. 8 times 4. I have 8 times 4. Bottom's negative, 8's negative, and this is positive. I take multiplication. Negative times positive is negative. That's good. X minus 8. X plus 4. Divided by A. A is 2. So that gives me, that does reduce, x minus 4 and x plus 2. Right? So I got to solve for this. If I change the signs, I get positive 4 and negative 2. Now, to solve, that's our x, I got to find the y, so I got to find the points where they intersect. All you got to do is plug them in. You can use any problem you want, equation you want. I'm going to use this original one right here. I'll use this one. So it says y equals 4 parentheses x. Well, the first x is 4. That gives me 16. For the second one, y equals 4 parentheses x. X is negative 2. That gives me negative 8. So my two answers are when x is 4, y is 16. And when x is negative 2, y is negative 8. So these two pictures cross at those 2 points, those two graphs. All right, that was my first part. I'll continue the next part on the second video.